Casting those roles is as important as casting your actors and your DP and choosing your producers in a way. It's all a casting process.
Hey everyone, I'm Juliana and this is Juliana Talks Films, the channel where I explore and examine films and filmmakers. If you love films and filmmaking, consider subscribing for weekly videos. Today we're hearing from indie filmmaker Eliza Hittman. Eliza's most recognizable movies include her debut film, It Felt Like Love, Beach Rats, and Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. If you guys have had a chance to check out any of her films, I'd love to know what you all think. Leave me a comment below and let me know. Eliza's film style falls in the category of naturalism and often explores subjects that are delving into coming of age, female and queer-centric topics within their specific subculture. So here's my take on Eliza's top 5 lessons on filmmaking.
While I was, working on the script, I was going through a lot of life transitions, and there was a tremendous amount of pressure on me to sort of make money and support a family and be successful. And I feel like I sort of transferred all of the pressure that I was feeling in my own life and in my own experience, into this character.
I got a lot going on right now, and I didn't mean to insult you. Hey, I'm trying to apologize.
Okay.
He's, a kid that's under a lot of pressure from his environment and from his world, and he's coping with a lot of conventional expectations around him. And inside him, there is this other person that's trying to sort of find their way and find their voice. And that's sort of always how I approached the character, that he was, maybe inarticulate and afraid of who he was or who he might be, and that sort of fear and feeling of hiding is the tension of the entire story. And once I was able to kind of find his core, I think, then I was able to write the script. And at no point did I surrender the decision making to other people. I wanted to be involved with who sold the film. I really believed in the agency that was behind me. I had strong feelings about who should represent the movie in terms of the publicity and who the right person was. And I think that the more people you meet and you have feelings about who understands what you're doing and how to build a team around your film. And I don't believe I'm kind of the person to let go of those decisions. Casting those roles is as important as casting your actors and your DP and choosing your producers in a way. It's all a casting process. Who understands the intention of the work that you're trying to make and who is going to best represent it in the professional space.
I think it was important to try, and I think it's important as a director to see the audition process as an active process and not a passive one. And I don't like sitting in an audition room, in a chair with a casting director and producers and, putting the actor, at a distance. And I believe it's like an opportunity to really work with somebody and to try and stage scenes from the film, as they're going to be staged in the movie. And not just pointing a static camera at them in a little jail cell of an audition room. And there's something to me about that environment that feels sort of humiliating for an actor. And I think that in giving people active scenarios, let's go in the bathroom, Talia, Sydney's in the toilet and Talia, you're outside, you just get more of a feeling for what it's like to work with somebody and what the energy of the scene is going to be like, what the connection is between the two.
I don't think about audience so much when I'm writing a film. I really come at it from the point of view of character and is this a character whose world I want to explore and what's my connection to the character. I'm a little bit idealistic and I believe if I make it, people will come. I think for me what's really important about audience building was something that I discovered actually when I made my first feature. It Felt Like Love. It was a micro-budget movie about a young girl, and it deals with themes around adolescent obsession and her figuring out her worth in the world based on who's attracted to her. I Felt Like Love was a movie that I essentially self-released. I got a grant and we hired someone to help put it in theaters. It didn't have a distributor. It was through a lot of the kind of hands-on work that we put into the movie that helped it find an audience. One of the more inspiring parts of building an audience for that film wasn't theatrical, it wasn't festival, it was actually screening the movie on college campuses, which was a lot of work that I did and I initiated, and being able to bring the film around the country to different campuses and come in and talk to film programs and screen the movie for people within a certain age bracket felt most meaningful because it felt personal, like I was handing down a story that maybe they hadn't seen, and that's what storytelling is. It's passing something down to a younger generation. And I found that aspect of audience building to be most successful.
With regards to how the film is shot, it has, I think, writing a script is a little bit like making a sculpture. So you sort of like know the shape that you're working in and the structure of it. And then for me, it's about going through it and carving subjectivity throughout and details. So it's not just two, scenes with two people talking to each other, that it's about, physical interaction and point of view. So I have to make sure that's all there on the page before shooting it. And then shooting it, it's very much about, the main character's subjective experience in the world. So staying close to her, proximity-wise with the camera, and then, a little bit more distance to everybody else is the general strategy. And there's a lot of, sort of small moments of physical behavior that I do closer and just slightly off speed. Just sort of
Are they written into the script?
They are.
Oh, okay.
They're all written into the script. So the pinkies moment, the hand touching, they're all kind of extreme close-ups, that are slightly off speed. Taking a scene that could otherwise be, very straightforward and trying to really put the audience through the experience of the character and make sure that we understand and punctuate what she's thinking and feeling.
My personal favorite tip was number 2. Let me know what your personal favorite was in the comments below. And while you're at it, also let me know if there are any other filmmakers that you want to see and hear from in future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and as a bonus and a thank you for sticking all the way to the end, here's an extra tip for you. Enjoy.
I think that when you are working intensely on a film, first you have to think about the film in and of itself and focus on the expectations that you can control. I have to make a strong film. I have to honor what I wrote. I have to not compromise on things that I care about, like how it's cast, where it's set, how it's shot, what the ending means. You really have to focus on what you can control. And that's first and foremost. And then once the film got into Sundance, then the conversation expanded, I would say. But for me as a filmmaker, I try and block all of that kind of discussion out at the moment where I'm really focused on making the movie.
Is it hard to block out some of those conversations about the film's eventual life while making it? Or for you, is that really just part of the process? It's keeping that.
I think that you always make work with a fear of failure sort of imminent, and you have to be able to sort of tackle that existential fear. And if I let those outside fears play into my creative process, I probably wouldn't be able to finish it. It would impair me.